Hey guys, so yesterday we read chapters 48 and 49 of The Return of Brightbill and then the goodbyes, where we know Roz said goodbye to Jaya and Jad and her cows and all her kind of other friends on the farm. And we talked yesterday feeling how she was feeling and what she felt. And we had to make our journal entry about Jaya and Jad, Roz, and Brightbill, maybe how they were feeling about the journey ahead. We're going to read chapters 50 and 51 today. And then I've got an activity for you at the end that I want you to do. I've started a little journal for the Wild Robot. It's just kind of easy to keep all of our work in there. It's got the stuff that I worked on, and then it's got today's assignment that I'll show you in just a little bit. So if it's easier for you to keep everything in one notebook, totally can. Pieces of paper, it doesn't matter. Whatever works for you guys. All right. Chapter 50, The Free Robot. At long last, Roz was free. But as she ran away from Hilltop Farm, she didn't feel free. She felt something more like fear. Did any of you write fear down on your Roz robot, on what she felt? I didn't, but I bet you maybe scared, fear. Yeah, that'd be a good one for sure. She feared being seen and captured and destroyed. She feared for her son's safety. So Roz camouflaged herself. She avoided the fields and kept to the trees. And with Brightbill as her guide, she carefully crept north through the farm country. The wild robot's long journey home had begun. Chapter 51. Uh-oh. You guys see that? The airship. What do you guys remember from the very end of the first Wild Robot book? Who came to capture and destroy Roz? Do you remember? There were three of them. The Ricos. And what did they come in? They came in an airship. What's your prediction? What's your thought? What do you think is going to happen? Think? I don't know. Let's find out. The sun was up, and our friends were on the move. They were traveling quickly and quietly along the narrow strip of the forest that cut between the vast crop fields. If not for that nagging fear of being spotted, it would have been a very pleasant hike. Wind whispered through the leaves, insects hummed and chirped, and farm machines rumbled in the distance. And then there came a new sound, a buzzing sound. Our friends hid in the underbrush as an airship rose up from the horizon ahead of them. It was a sleek white triangle flying low and fast. Roz adjusted her vision and saw familiar robots gazing out of the front window. Uh-oh. Who do you think's in the window? Rico 1, Rico 2, and Rico 3 had been destroyed. Rico 1, Rico 2, and Rico 3 had been destroyed back on the island. Perhaps these robots were Ricos 4, 5, and 6? What do you think? They're flying toward Hilltop Farm, said Brightbill. We need to keep moving, said Roz. The airship disappeared to the south, and the travelers continued north at a faster pace. They hurried through more strips of forest, passing squirrels and birds and groundhogs and other friendly creatures. But the robot and the goose had no time to chat. Later that day, the trees came to an abrupt end. Roz and Brightbill stood at the forest edge and faced an ocean of wheat. The wheat was still young and green. It gently waved in the wind and spread out as far as they could see. Well, what should we do? Asked Brightbill. We need to keep moving, said Roz, staring across the plains. But I am not safe in the open. There must be more trees out there somewhere. I'll go take a look, said Brightbill, and the goose launched himself up skyward. Up, up, up he went high into the air until finally he stopped and floated, just a tiny winged shape against the blue, and then dove back down to his mother. There are trees in that direction, said Brightbill. As far as about 30 minutes at top speed. Then we had better get started, said Roz. Our friends burst out from the underbrush. The robot sprinted through the field and the goose flying by her side. Roz had to keep herself from slipping into the soft, muddy soil. But she stomped on, and far ahead, another line of trees slowly climbed into view. Bright Bill suddenly swooped up and out of sight as his mother kept running. Then he lowered back down beside her and squawked, "The airship is returning!" Behind them, a tiny white triangle rose up from the horizon. It was growing larger and louder by the second. If Roz was seen, her newfound freedom and her life would be over. She couldn't take any chances. "Go on without me," hollered the robot, and she dropped to the ground. Bright Bill hoped his mother knew what she was doing, and he flew on without her. Once he reached the trees, he perched himself on a branch and looked back. His mother had vanished. The airship, however, had seemed to fill the sky. Its shadow flitted across over the ground where Roz had just been. But the ship didn't see her, and it detected no electronic signal, so it kept going, racing above the trees and over the next field. Its engine noise gradually faded and disappeared to the north. "You can come out, Ma," squawked Bright Bill from his branch. A column of wheat stood up in the field. The robot had rushed off her camouflage as it crumbled off of her body when she started to move. As she approached the trees, Roz looked at Bright Bill and the branches and said, "We need to keep moving." So for today's the Wild Robot Escapes activity, I want you guys to make a map. We know Roz is on the move with Bright Bill, and it says she's headed in a very specific direction. Did you catch it? North. She's going north. So we are going to draw our map. And I'm only going to kind of show you mine a little bit because I want you guys to think of your own things that they might encounter. But we know where Roz started, right? Where did she begin her very, very first adventure? Well, in this book, where does her adventure start? On Hilltop Farm, on the farm, right? So here's my Hilltop Farm, and I have her traveling. Woo, I can't do it. Traveling all the way to where she wants to get, to the island. So I have some ideas about what I think that Roz is going to encounter on her trip home. And I want you guys to draw your map of your ideas of different places. Now, I'll kind of give you some things. We know that there's a city somewhere near. Roz talks a lot about farmland and mountains, and maybe there's an ocean. But I want you guys to think of some other things. If you have it in a different order, if you think she's going to swim first, that's totally great. Now, one thing I do want you to notice is right here. Anybody remember what that's called? We talked about it when we did our unit on me on the map, but this is called a compass rose. So make sure that your map has a compass rose, and I'm missing something on my map, a map key. So I know that if I were to make a map key of my map, which I'm going to do right now with you guys so you can see it. Sorry, guys. I would say, okay, I know I've got some different landmarks in here. I used this a couple times. What do you think this could be? Water. So for my map key, I would take that color, kind of draw the same picture, and label it. I know that maybe if somebody were to read my map, they might not know what these are. What do you think those are? Mountains. Yeah, so I would write mountains for my map key. So make sure that you have 6 locations of where you think Roz is going to have to adventure through on her journey home. So 6 different spots on your map. Make sure you have a map key, and that's this. And then make sure you have your compass rose. For your writing and your comprehension part today, go look at the email with the directions. I'm going to send you a link to a book I want you to read on Mayan, talking about maps. So 2 parts to this assignment. Map key, and Mayan book. All right, you guys, let's see what our robot's up to tomorrow. See you guys.